Hey guys, this is going to be a review of season 3 episode 9 of Rain called Wedlock, and yes, I am talking about episode 309 when the next episode has already aired. I'm a bit behind on that, but I actually haven't watched episode 310 yet. I was unsure if I was going to watch it last night because I'm filming this on Saturday, or not, and then I got busy doing homework and then realized it was 8:30, so I'm gonna watch it later today on the CW's website, but I'm gonna go ahead and do this now and then I'll review that one separately later, I think more likely as a blog post. So for some reason I wasn't at all expecting Don Carlos to regain his memory, even though looking back on it, I kind of feel like I should have been suspicious of that because it does kind of make sense in like a dramatic sort of way. Almost like otherwise Mary and Catherine were getting off too easily, and now so like it makes kind of sense to me that they went for a route where they didn't get off so easily. But at the same time, I think I was so surprised that he had all the brain damage to begin with, because I hadn't been expecting that I never thought that it would also then not I don't want to say that it wasn't real, because for a while it was, but that he would eventually like fake it. That being said, it was fairly early on in the episode when I started realizing that like he seemed to be faking it. Like there was just like an air. I don't really think it was how he was acting per se, because at this point he was still like disguising it, but I just got this feeling that that seemed to be where things were going, because it was kind of ominous with him, and so it just kind of seemed like more was going to happen, and that seemed where things were going to go, and it was. So I wasn't like shocked when you find out that he was lying. It was interesting though, because it almost feels like a complete change in personality afterwards. He's so vindictive, which is kind of not how he acted before, which makes me wonder what his like real personality was, like if he really was like kind of like that before but was just trying to woo Mary or whatever, or if possibly there was like brain damage that made him more like aggressive, angry, whatnot. I don't know. Or he could have just been mad about what happened. But at the same time, I feel like Mary and Catherine can only be blamed for him getting injured to like a certain degree. It really was not their fault. I really enjoyed all of kind of the political stuff with him trying to get Mary's crown, and Mary like figuring it out, and Mary like manipulating Elizabeth's spy to help her, and I just thought that was all really awesome, and I really enjoyed that in the episode. I tend to always like that sort of thing. I also just really loved how Mary pieced everything together, and Mary like tricked him back. It was just really awesome to watch, and I also loved Catherine's kind of response, because she kind of did it without Catherine, not kind of, like she did do it without Catherine, whereas like I almost think of Catherine as Mary's mentor at this point, like teaching Mary how to be queen, and so I think she helps Mary with like the more deceptive stuff more often than not, because she's kind of like lost her morals more than Mary has, which I'm not necessarily saying is like a good thing, but I do feel like Mary is like, the fact that Mary did all of that on her own without Catherine, it's like one of those things like where she's gradually needing Catherine to accomplish things less. But then after she like confronted Don Carlos and everything, and Catherine like stood up to Narcisse and was like, if you're not going to do anything to protect France's interests or whatever she said, then I will, and she spoke up and like basically told Don Carlos to leave, or she would tell his dad about what he did, I think is what she said. I'm pretty sure that was the threat she used. But I loved that, like she didn't know what Mary was doing, but then she like immediately steps up and like backs up Mary, and even though she like technically doesn't even have the authority to, and I thought that that was really great. Did we know that the Gideon guy's daughter was being held captive by Elizabeth? Because I don't remember knowing that before, but then again I feel like it might have come up and I might have dismissed it. I can't remember if Elizabeth like directly threatened him with that earlier on or if she didn't, because if she did, I don't think I like stored it away as important enough information to like really hold on to. But I could also see that being in that scene because I remember that scene and like bits and pieces of it. So I don't know. I really do feel like they're developing a romance between Mary and the Gideon guy. I'm kind of wary of romances between two people where one of the person is directly supposed to be manipulating the other, because you just never know how much of it is genuine and how much of it is fake. And even if he like starts telling Mary that he's like in love with her, Mary and all the viewers are never gonna like really know if he's telling the truth or if he's manipulating her. And I know that that's like intriguing to a lot of people and like really exciting, but to me it just makes me kind of nervous. So I'm not saying that I like hate it, I flat out hate it, but I'm kind of like nervous about this and seeing where it goes, because I definitely think there's going to be a romance of some kind between them. I don't know if it'll be like a long drawn out thing, but for the next few episodes at the very least I think there's going to be like more development between the two of them. And so I think like I kind of feel like he's going to be a good guy in the end, just because of the way that his daughter was brought up and Mary was talking about his daughter. I kind of hope that they're going for him being a good guy at least, because it's always better when someone can be good over when they can be evil, unless they're like a really compelling villain. But I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. And we have Elizabeth, who I feel like, I don't know when the last time I talked about Elizabeth was. I don't feel like she played an important enough role in last episode for me to have really brought her up in my review. But she played a pretty big role in this episode, and a quite dramatic one. So she's pregnant, and I do often try not to talk about like historical stuff in my reviews, because I know some people don't like knowing that because they're scared it's gonna spoil the show, and things like that. Although I've kind of gotten away from that a bit recently because I think I talked about some historical stuff in my last review. But that being said, I am going to talk about this because I feel like everyone in America knows like very little about British history, but everyone knows that Queen Elizabeth I never got married or had kids. Like I feel like everyone knows that, at least like subconsciously, if not consciously. So she never has a kid, and I suppose Reign could go the route of her secretly giving birth and no one ever knowing about the kid. Conceivably, I could see how that could be like a thing in that time period when you don't have as like pictures and videos and things like we do now. I can see how like Elizabeth could like disappear for a few months and then come back and no one ever knows, but I don't feel like anything ever actually works out that way. So I don't think she's going to have the kid, especially after the events of this episode and all of that. I just don't feel like they're gonna get married. I don't feel like she's going to have the kid. But talking about more on like the marriage side of things, so this is such a complicated mess. It really is. I feel like she was made pregnant as like a plot device because of like, I don't know, it just really, things got really complicated there. Amy got sick and they could have just waited for her to die and get married, which is really terrible, but would have solved like all the drama going on. But then Elizabeth happens to get pregnant and has to get married right away, and then like, I don't know, there was a lot going on there in this episode that I don't even know where to get started on the stuff like with Amy and everything. I feel really bad for her. Not that I condone everything that Amy has done, but Elizabeth hasn't really been better than Amy. They're on about equal grounds, as is Robert. All three of them have done some not so great things, and I do feel bad for her that like her husband has this like huge, really romantic love affair with someone else and is the queen who she can't like do anything about. In this episode you learn that she got abused as a child, and it does not seem like she ever like dealt with that. And so I can see why, if that were true, why everything that happens later causes her to like struggle so much. And that definitely did help make what happened with her more believable, because you can see how like all of this stuff piling on top of each other, and like we don't know why she got locked away by her family, but I wouldn't be surprised if she had some sort of mental illness even as a kid and that got her locked away by her family. Because you know, like back then, I mean we still have troubles dealing with mental illness today, but back then dealing with mental illness was terrible. Like you didn't even deal with it, you locked people away. So I feel like that's probably why she was locked away by her family. So this was something that she'd always struggled with. I'm not really sure how I feel about her illness being, and her like eventual suicide being framed as like the crazy wife, because I feel like that's a popular kind of trope. Like Jane Eyre comes to mind, and just like the crazy wife who the husband wants to get rid of and like marry someone new, or like different variations of that kind of idea. I'm not sure how I feel about her mental illness being used in that way, but it definitely did, like, I think was the final kind of thing that like Elizabeth and Robert aren't going to get married, which never thought they did, because like I said, I think everyone knows that Elizabeth never got married. I don't know, I don't even know what else I can say on that at this point, because there's just a lot going on there and a lot of it is really terrible. But the last thing from this episode I want to talk about happens at the very end, and that's Narcisse telling Claude that he's going to marry her off, which I feel like I should have seen coming. I knew that they were going to do something with Claude in marriage soon, because she was talking to Catherine and her brother about their deals with her not marrying her off and things like that. So like it's been continuously coming up at certain points. So I knew that it was going to go that way, and with her like adamancy about like choosing her own husband, it had to be dealt with at some point. I don't think I was expecting Narcisse to marry her off, which I probably should have been, because it feels like something Narcisse would do, but I don't know if she's gonna wind up married to the guy. Like Rain kind of has a habit of marrying people off and the marriages being terrible. It's actually kind of crazy if you think about it, because I think Mary and Francis have like the only marriage on Rain that was like happy. Even they had problems, like massive problems, but like they're the only marriage that was really happy at all. Like Bash and Kenna had like a brief period. I guess everyone had brief periods of being happy, but they all end disastrously. I guess Francis and Mary's ends disastrously too, but not in the same, I wouldn't consider it with everyone else, because Francis dying was like a disaster, but not in the way that everyone else's marriages kind of like blew up. So I wouldn't be surprised if Claude got stuck married to someone that she doesn't like. I don't feel like Claude and Leith are going to get like a happy ending, at least not anytime soon on the show. So I wouldn't be surprised if she got married off, but at the same time, I feel like we have enough marriages from Rain now where people get married to people that they don't really want to be married to. And I do realize with the time period and the fact that we're dealing with royalty, who in this period in history always had to marry people for like social status and money and not love. I get that. So I get that like people not being happy in their marriages would be a really common thing, but at the same time we haven't seen it so much on Rain that I would love if Claude got out of this marriage somehow, but I don't know right now if I think that she will or she won't. So I guess we'll have to wait until we like meet the guy. I don't know if that'll be next episode, that's already aired, so I'll see later today, hopefully. I'm planning on watching the episode today, but yeah, I guess there's no use really speculating if, I mean, I guess there's no difference speculating since I haven't seen the next episode yet, but it feels pointless because I know that the next episode is out. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and stop here, and hopefully I will get to the new episode in just a little bit. Like, I'm probably gonna watch it really soon because now that I've been talking about episode 9, I really want to watch the next episode. So I will see you guys later.